Hello, everybody. Today, I had the chance to speak with the German artist Dennis Rodinger. I had the chance this summer to go to his place, and he has an amazing garden. And today, we're gonna go and talk about everything related to it: koi ponds, the details of his garden, and of course, the main event, the bonsais. So, let's not waste any more time and let's get to it. Enjoy. Hello, Dennis.
Hello, Loris.
How are you today? How are you feeling?
I'm fine. Thanks. And you?
I'm really good. I'm really good. I'm really excited. As I was saying in the intro, I'm really excited to talk with you about, of course, the trees. I've been to your garden and I saw many trees that I didn't see online before, and I'm really a fan of what you created. But on top of it, I would like to talk about how you've been creating the garden as well and everything that you're doing on the side, because you told me before that you've been doing also some growing, and of course, we're gonna have time to speak a bit about everything. But how are you feeling today? How's the winter is going in Germany? How you're taking care of the trees in this time of the year?
Oh, it's a hard winter this year.
Mm-hmm.
So from December to now, we had a lot of frost, a lot of low temperatures, down to -11, -12.
Okay. Okay.
Compared to last winter the lowest temperature was around about -6.
Mm-hmm.
So the heaters in my greenhouse run all day long when
Okay.
it's so cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and lots of snow. We haven't had that much snow in the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, yeah,
Yeah.
and that keeps it hard. Also, my field, uh, some last week, the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks, everything was frozen solid in the ground, so I can't dig anything up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So like this time of the year is the one that where usually you're collecting also from the field.
Yeah, I also start to plant seedlings
Mm-hmm.
over the winter already to fill up the empty spaces because I have 1,400 grow
Okay.
bags in my field, and there are
Okay.
always some empty spaces because some young seedlings dying or I remove some trees from the field. So yeah.
What is the process with the field growing? Because I never met anybody that is actually doing field growing for bonsai purposes. So like you're planting the seedling, then what's the process? What kind of species do you work with also?
I have around about 45 different tree species. Most of them are native species like Scots pine, Mugo pine, a lot of deciduous trees like birch, field maple, oaks, uh, privets, taxus, all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Also some Japanese species, but they don't grow as well in my field.
Mm-hmm.
And the process I adopt from the US style of field growing with grow bags and a
Mm-hmm.
tile in the grow bag and a special grow mix inside the grow bag, so you get a lot of fine growth
Mm-hmm.
right at the trunk. That makes it easy to when you collect the tree out of the field to get good fine roots to put it in a bonsai pot. Most of the field growers here in at least in Germany, they put the trees directly in the field soil in the clay.
Mm-hmm.
Most of Germany is like a clay type soil,
Yeah.
and it's hard to dig the trees out of that clay, and also with conifers you have problems with the roots to get fine roots close to the trunk when you dig them up. With deciduous it's not that big of a problem, but it's also hard to get all the clay of the roots. So with the grow bags I have a mix of pumice, of crushed bark and garden compost
Mm-hmm.
inside, so it's really loose. The there's a lot of oxygen in the soil. There's a lot of fine ramification of roots in the soil, and you
Mm-hmm.
also uh, get roots growing through the grow bag in the native soil, so that boosts up your trunk and also gives some extra nutrients and some holding capacity when the tree is sitting only in the grow bag, and the roots can stabilize when they grow out of the corners of the bag and even through the bag, the fine roots. So
Okay.
the benefit is you get a lot of fine roots, and you also get a lot of microbial activity from the native ground. So the tree really get a kickstart when you plant it in the field, because there's a lot of biology already starting to accumulate in the soil.
Okay. But do you manage the root ball right away? You try to make it flat at the bottom, or is just like?
I start with seedlings, 1 year seedlings that I've seeded in a big tray and then select them. And because the trays that I'm using are really flat, so I don't get much of a tap root. So they already start to get a lot of fine side roots, and then I cut everything that grows down and plant the seedling directly on a ceramic tile.
Okay.
So especially with the deciduous trees, that works like magic. You don't have to do a lot, because the roots, the main nebari roots, flare outwards on the tile and then grow down. And when you remove it from the field, you can chop everything that is underneath the tile off, and you have a flat nebari. For conifers, you need to do an intermediate step where you, after 4 to 5 years, you remove the tree, then prune the root ball to get a nice fine compact root ball, and then replant it. So that's my plan. Now I'm at that 5-year mark or 4 to 5 year mark with a lot of my conifers. For example, the pines, they are growing fast, but they are not growing like a deciduous in my field. So I get a trunk size on a field maple in 4 years from a seed to a dimension to the trunk is maybe 7 to 8 centimeters, and the nebari is 15 centimeters in diameter.
Okay.
You know how long these? In 2 years.
4 years from a seed.
Okay.
4 years from a seed.
Okay.
Also, prune species are growing like weeds, and for the pine you get also like that thick trunk, but with one sacrifice branch on it, so you have no trunk movement. So now I'm at that point where I in this year's spring I will chop the sacrifice branch that are already 2.5 meters tall on my pines, and then let another sacrifice grow in another direction to get movement in the trunk. So and now I'm on that 4 to 5 year mark where I get a new trunk direction, and I also will remove the trees from the field, cut the thick roots, because there are always some runners that grow out of the grow bag, and then put it in a next bigger grow bag. So now I'm most of my trees are in 3-gallon grow bags, and then I'm upsizing them to 5-gallon, but that's the biggest I take. So yeah.
Okay, but so the plan, what it is, like after the 5 years, like you're moving forward, of course, you're gonna have your trees coming out of the field to get in pots, or you're gonna continue having it in the field, I don't know, like Japanese style with all those really old pines and so on?
I remove some to work on them and put them in pots to sell them like a bonsai that is showable. But my main goal is to sell them like in grow bags directly from the field with a lot of option, like raw material. The wounds are mostly closed. I cut everything by hand with concave cutters. I seal all the wounds, so there are not a lot of big wounds on the trees, and you get a lot of secondary, also on deciduous, a lot of tertiary ramification. So someone can immediately put this tree in a pot, because there are a lot of fine roots, and can start wiring the tree because there's a lot of ramification. I prune it in the field to get nice trunk movement, to get taper up the tree to the main branches and to the secondary branches, and then I hedge prune them to get a lot of fine ramification. Everything until I get tertiary ramification is pruned by hands with a concave cutter or a shear, and after that, when I have the main structure, I start hedge pruning, and I don't let the trees run anymore as long. And in the development state, I let the sacrifice branches run to 3 meters tall on my
Okay.
deciduous trees. And some of them, like the birch, for example, or the field maple, I need to cut twice a year, and they regrow in August another 1.5 meter of branches until fall.
Yeah, really vigorous, especially in the field when you have the connection with the soil.
In the first year, first when I began, I started with a lot of root naked trees from the forest industry. I thought because they are 2 or 3 years old, I get a kickstart in the field growing. But it was not the case, because these trees are get ripped out of the ground. There's not a lot of fine ramification, and you have a problem because the trees are already 1 meter tall, and my field is really exposed. So you have a lot of movement in the trunks, even when I secured them with some posts and line. I had problem that a lot of trees died and don't grow as well. And in the second year, I started with 1-year-old seedlings, and they have so much fine roots because I start growing them from seed already in a substrate mix. And they have a lot of fine roots, and when you plant them in 1 year, from spring to fall, they grow to a diameter from around about 1 centimeter and 1 meter tall. And then they established the roots already in the grow bag down to the ground. They have a lot of moisture in there, because I also have irrigation system over the summer. It's necessary, otherwise you can't water them by hand. That's too much work. And if you don't water, they die, because it takes at least 2 years until the roots really run out of the grow bag. And then you also want to keep the fine roots in the grow bag alive, so you need to water them at least every 3 to 4 days in summer. And in the second year, especially the deciduous trees, they grow like wheat. They get a trunk to 3 centimeters in the second year, and in the third year they get twice the size. And then you can start, in the third year, you can start building primary branches. So first year it's a seedling. First year in the field you get like a stick of 1 meter tall. In the second year the stick gets up to 3 meters and gets thick. Then you chop it down. And then in the third year you start to get main branch structure. And after that, in only 4 to 5 years with the deciduous trees, you're already in fine tertiary ramification, where you can start hedge pruning them, because otherwise you get too thick of branches in the finer parts, and then this causes you at the end big wounds in the fine ramification. So after 4 to 5 years, you need to start prune them 3 or 4 times a year, hedge pruning, so they don't get too big. Because when they are established in my soil mix, they grow like wheat, especially the deciduous trees.
No, it's an it's if you're thinking about the potential of a field grown compared to the pot growing, to the tree growing in the container, it's much more powerful. I mean, in 3 years you get like a 3 meter tall tree that then you chop down. So down it's actually pretty thick, much more like compared to the trees that grows in pots. It's a really fast process. Do you feel like because I've been visiting a bonsai garden in Scandinavia that was doing a lot of field growing, and he was pushing it forward a lot, but it felt like you could see it on the trees. You get like a chunkier ramification. It's a little bit more it's not as refined, it feels like, as the trees that grows in a pot. Do you feel like having it for just 4 or 5 years in a pot and then moving forward from there, it's you still get the growth of a field grown, but then you can achieve like a refined look?
Yeah, you need to switch from the field at one time to pot cultivation, and then also start to wire and prune the fine ramification. But you don't get trees like from Japan where they put 40, 50, 60 years into field growing in those trees, and then also put another decade or two growing them in pots. So I don't want to sell trees when I'm 80 years old.
Yeah,
I
no.
think like my field growing trees are really a nice alternative for especially for beginners or hobbyists with not that big of a budget, because a lot of my trees in the field are at a stage like when I first started collecting trees from the wild, also deciduous in my local forests. There are most of the time some stubs with some primary branches on them, and after 1 or 2 years in a pot you get a lot of ramification that you can wire, and the trees in my field are at that stage. You have the primary branches, you get a lot of secondary and also a lot of tertiary ramification that you can start selecting, pruning, and wiring into shape, and from there forward you can start refining the tree in a pot, getting better taper into the trunks, healing the wounds perfectly, and all kinds of stuff like that. The thing is, in my opinion, people don't they do care a lot about how old a tree actually is. When my trees are only 4, 5, 6 years from a seed, that sounds like nothing for a tree, but in my opinion, only what really matters is the result. I don't care if this tree is 30, 40, 50 years old, if it looks the same as a tree that is 8 or 10 years old. So most of the time, if you see on a website trees for sale and there's something written underneath like juniper kishu 12 years old, or they are all grown in pots for the whole life from a cutting. So that's why this small thing is 12 years old. But to take a 12-year-old kishu from a field, that thing has a trunk size of 10 centimeters in 12 years or more. So then you have something to work with. I don't care if this thing is 5, 10, or 15 years old. It starts mattering for me when you talk about Yamadori. So there you can see really the age that nature put in, or when you have a imported Japanese dried maple, for example, with a crazy tapering trunk, and you see that multiple generations put effort in this tree, and there's also where the value comes for these type of trees, because in Japan there are multiple generations working on the same project, whereas in Europe we are only the second generation maybe, or in my case I'm the first generation, and I don't want to grow trees that maybe my daughter can sell when she's 40.
Yeah.
I want to sell trees now with a good result, and I think the quality is not a problem. People need to understand that it matters what the tree offers as a future. So I put a lot of effort in my nebari. So when the seedling goes onto the tile, I arrange every single fine root on these things. So I have a nice nebari. You can't compare this to a tree that you bought at a garden center. There are a lot of interesting old trees in garden centers. I also bought a lot of trees from nursery stock, but it's always like this present type of thing. You don't know what the nebari looks like, what is in the soil.
Yeah, no, of course. It's the most difficult part when acquiring from a nursery, of course.
In a deciduous tree, you can sure air layer a deciduous tree. I've air layered a lot of nursery stock, but with a conifer you are more limited, especially when you want a ground layer. A deciduous tree is really easy to ground layer and get a new nebari. That's also something Walter Paul said at one time in a video where he presented a Japanese maple that he talked about that he should have air layered it at the first day when he got it, but he done it 15 years later or so, and he lost the time. Thinking about what the Nebari should look like now when he done it 15 years ago already, the air layering. And that is something, if you have a crabby Nebari on a deciduous tree, air layer this thing. If you have a gap in the Nebari on a deciduous root graft, put a root graft inside. You don't need to have the perfect matching foliage. Take the same species and you can do a root graft. But on conifers, if you don't put the effort right away in a nice material, that's hard to get a nice Nebari. So that's why the Japanese people are growing Japanese black pine and white pine for many decades in the field, and they remove it and they chop the roots and they put them back and they calm everything out to get nice Nebari. So also conifers, the Nebari is really important.
For every, I mean, it's probably the most important part of the tree. It's something that you can change. You need to find it good. Otherwise, as you said, in a deciduous manner, it's manageable in ways. But with conifers, when you have those
things with that. Most of the time with Yamadori, the Yamadori that I've collected, I'm really excited with how the Nebaris look on them. Because the problem is when you get something from nursery, you have a round pot and the roots start to circle around in the pot. And that's what's the problem over time. But when you collect something, even if it is in a rock, in between rocks, you get interesting Nebari. You get nice flare in the Nebari. You don't have the problem when you collect Yamadori. I've collected 5 years in the Austrian Alps, and you don't have that problem when you can collect a tree because it's sitting in a rock crevice. You get also nice Nebari most of the time. I don't see a lot of Yamadoris with crappy Nebari like you get from nursery stock.
Yeah. I mean, it's like sometimes it can be challenging with Yamadori too. But the pot container and the walls of it are definitely a big problem when it comes to Nebari. Like we just started repotting some of the trees. We got a collection from an old man a few months ago, and now we started actually working through the repotting part of the project, and it's challenging because many of them were neglected, were put in poor soil, a lot of sand and organic matter that brings, as you might imagine, not that much fine ramification in what it is the root ball. And on maples, we bought a big maple now this weekend, and it was insane. Like we had like 4 big roots like this thick going along the pot all the way down, and it's something that is going to be worked on. We didn't feel like removing everything, otherwise probably we would have killed the tree. So it's something, you put 2 repottings just to being able to put it in a small container after like maybe 40 years that you've been working on. It's a challenging part. But what brought you to start your field growing part, like field growing project? When and why?
Okay. I started field growing in 2021.
Okay.
So the first trees got in the field in fall of 2021, but most of the ones that are actually at the field and then survived, I went in the field in 2022. And my main thing why I started field growing, I thought that's an investment over time. So you can achieve with hard work over time a result. So the money you put in is not that big compared to other types you can make money for a living. And I searched for a second income because I have a main job. So I thought about what I can do compared to something with bonsai related to get some money. And I also thought, I don't know anybody that produces nice quality field growing material, at least in Germany. And I've listened to the Terperian Farm podcast from Bonsai Mirai, Asymmetry. And Terperian actually got burned down some years ago, and all the community in America was really unhappy that there's nothing else like that before, or where they can source material from, and that's why I started field growing. Because I thought there are these informations how the American people field growing, and there are also some YouTube videos what effort they put in, and I'm really a technical guy, so everything that is technical, interesting is something that admires to me. And field growing, I really like how fast something develops. I'm a really impatient person, so having a lot of trees to work with is really something good for myself. That's why I'm also started to get some skills to develop my trees really fast, because I like fast results. In my opinion, to getting a result from 2 to 4 years where somebody else needs 10 to 15 years, it's a skill set in my opinion, and it's for me valuable. When Mauro Stemberger creates a show-winning Scots pine or from raw material in 5 to 8 years, that is something I want to achieve in my bonsai.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
so everybody can take 30, 40, 50 years. I don't like that conversation that great bonsai should take decades after decades, and yeah, that's not in my taste.
No, but it makes a lot of sense. It's such a slow process growing up a tree in a pot, that if you can take shortcuts, it's highly necessary, especially if we are in a situation where we're not like in Japan, where there's a 5-6 generation in a family doing the same job. We need to make it. We don't need to make it fast, but it's the way that we have to work with great material in one lifetime. I would say it's a completely understandable topic. I've been asking you about the reason why, because many times I've been talking with bonsai artists, and at a certain point it becomes an issue, the source of material, and not everybody is keen to go in the wilderness and collect more and more. So I was wondering if that was one of the reasons why you've been studying also
with the field growing.
No, I also have good material for myself. So I always have some trees tagged where I don't want to sell, because they are like, when you put 100 seedlings of one species, there are 2 to 5 trees that are really outstanding by itself. They produce such a character in the trunk that it's like nature formed it. So it's a wild process. My field is really exposed to wind, and there's a lot of nature also working on the trees, not only what I'm doing. And you have that 2 to 5 trees every 100 that are really special and that I keep for myself, and that's also an advantage for myself, because I know what I have built and what I want to build for the trees in the future. And it's I since I have my field for the last 3 to 4 years, I stopped collecting in the local forest.
Okay.
Because the field maples, I can only collect deciduous in my local forest. If I want to collect conifers, I need to go to the Austrian Alps. So, but that's a lot of effort also to get permission. And in my local forest, I have permission. That's not a problem, but I can only collect deciduous. And the deciduous that are growing in my local forest uh, are not as good as the ones that I'm growing on the field, because like in nursery stock, uh, it's challenging to find a tree in the forest with a nice nebari, because they can grow wherever they want, and some roots get really strong and the rest be small. So, and then you get a lot of big big wounds, because most of the time I've collected the trees on the sideways on the forest streets, because they get chopped down every year.
Yeah.
So the pathway is clear. So they have some taper in them, but they're also a lot of times hollow, rotted out. And in my taste, you need to have a powerful tree to have a hollow trunk. You don't want to carve any hole that you make by removing a branch. That looks unnatural for me. The old oaks, and they are really hollow. You don't have one hole where an oil or something like that sits in. You have a hollow trunk, a really half a dead tree. So when I cut branches on my deciduous, first of all I want to heal them. If I have no chance, if the half tree is dead, then I can hollow it out.
Yeah.
But like the Japanese are doing their deciduous tree, if I have a chance, first of all, my goal is to heal all wounds completely.
Yeah, it's like with deciduous, many times you achieve much more valuable material in that case.
The quality is much more beautiful. The most deciduous I like, for me, deciduous are most of the time feminine trees. So you have elegant movement, like for example with Japanese maples. I don't like the triangular trident maple style with that massive taper. It looks cool, but they all look all the same. I want to have a natural appearance on my deciduous, and also on the ramification. And there's no space for a lot of wounds. And most of the time, deciduous, if they are grown healthy, they are closing wounds really easily. On my field maples, I can close a wound in a diameter of 4 to 5 centimeters in a pot in 1 year. So if you let the tree accumulate a lot of foliage and you manage the foliage, that it stays healthy, there's airflow, and you get a lot of light into the canopy. Development stages like wound healing, that's not a problem for most deciduous if they grow well in your area. So why you would hollow then sometimes maybe there's a lack of technique or understanding to heal wounds quickly, and then they start rotting. But then you can remove the rotten wood and fill it with a 2-part epoxy kit, and then they colors again, because a lot of people don't understand what colors formation really needs to close wound. You need.
So you basically you fill up the hole with epoxy, and then you give surface for the.
Yeah, the colors need a strong surface that don't takes moisture, because when you have rotted wood, the rotted wood is like a sponge. It absorbs the moisture of the colors, and then the colors stops rolling. That's why you have this hollow trunk parts sometimes on deciduous, because the wood is soft, and after 2 to 3 years, if you don't close them or paste them so water can't get to the wound, it rots, and then the wood is like a sponge, and then the colors don't start rolling over. So you need to remove the wood and fill it. The Japanese oftentimes, for the big trident maples, they use concrete. And then, but they don't leave the concrete, because the concrete also absorbs moisture.
Okay.
If they have big wounds, they also put like a unnatural, like a 2-part epoxy on top of this. And if they have really big wounds, sometimes they put a little craft as a bar, especially for trident maples, to close it even faster. But you have to do something with it. You can't leave that rotten wood inside and think this thing will close by itself. That never happens.
Of course.
So.
Of course.
That's a great insight, because I saw the video. I saw videos where there was glimpses of the concrete part on a big hole, and I didn't really got that it was because of it. It's a great insight. Yeah, that's the good thing about like having a technical mindset. You know, like we are many times we study a lot, but we have friends as well that have the technical mindset, the scientific method to work on trees, and you know it's really improved drastically the way that the everything goes, everything, not just bonsais, everything. So it's fantastic to hear, fantastic to hear. But I here's, I see a lot of thought also in the garden that you have. Like you're talking about technicalities and everything, but the thing that um, blew me away in your place is like how everything is super neat. Like from the gates, but I also the little details around the house. You have those mushrooms, the ones that they grow on top of the trees, just pasted to the benches. It's you have a great sensibility with details as well. Do you want to tell me a little bit about the build of the garden?
Yeah,
itself?
of course.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm really someone that is into details. I'm really perfectionistic, and
Mhm.
for me, bonsai is all about the details.
Mhm.
That's what's the fun for me in bonsai.
Mhm.
People should keep more attention about details. When I
Mhm.
see tie-down wires in a pot and they are visible and they go all over the nebari, that's crap for me. You
Yeah.
can do better. There's always a way uh, that your result looks better.
Mhm.
Some of the first things that I've learned from Ryan, from Bonsai Mirai, is that function and aesthetics, they go hand in hand. If
Mhm.
something is looking nice and neat, then it works. If you
Mhm.
don't care how it looks because this thing is in development, then it won't work out at the end. And the same is in my garden.
Mhm.
So I've bought the house in 2017,
Mhm.
and I was a young guy. I was 22 years old at that moment, 23 years old,
Mhm.
and I've noticed fast that when I hire someone to do a work for me, that
Mhm.
they can't keep up with my level, what I aspire to
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
for that work.
Mhm.
So and then I've started learning the craftsman techniques by myself,
Mhm.
like the ceramic tiles in the bathroom,
Mhm.
like everything except except the roof, I did by myself.
Mhm.
Because at the end I had always problems with someone that comes in, and also some friends that want to help. I was not happy with the result, so I want it perfect for
Mhm.
me, and I also saved a lot of money in that case, because if you hire somebody, it costs a lot of money. If you only have to pay for the materials
Mhm.
and some machines to do the work, you save a lot of money.
Mhm.
And I done everything beside my main job. So when I had my 3 week summer vacation from my main job, I done all the ceramic work in the bathrooms in
Mhm.
both, and then
Mhm.
my vacation was over. So in that first year, from August to 17 to August to 18, I've completed the whole house, because I had to rip everything out of the house. The house was
Mhm.
from 1978, and
Mhm.
everything had to be removed.
Mhm. Mhm.
And after 1 year, I finished the house. Then we packed our stuff. The good thing was that my parents' house, where I lived at that moment, was the neighbor's house. So I bought the neighbor's house from my parents. I had
Mhm.
close ways.
Okay.
After work, I could already start working on the house every day.
Mhm. Okay.
Even when I had late shift at that time, after late shift, I started working in night with headlights. One time the police came because they thought my
You were
wife and I,
burning.
when we are painting with headlights, the neighbors called because they thought there are some robbers. So yeah, that was a funny story. And after 1 year, I finished the house, and then I've started the garden. And my first intention, that's how I also came to bonsai.
Mhm.
My main hobby at the time was fishing, especially
Okay.
carp fishing.
Mhm.
So, and carp fishing is close to somebody that loves koi fish.
Mhm.
And I always wanted a big koi pond.
Okay.
So I bought the house, and when I've searched from 2015 until I bought it, I searched for a house, and I had always in mind I want a big koi pond.
Mhm.
And then I saw in Miyajima, in a little bakery, there's behind the bar, there's a little koi pond.
Mhm.
And on the koi pond, there are some bonsais on display. And I saw
Mhm.
that picture, and I thought I want a koi pond with some bonsai. Then I
Uh-huh.
started in 2017 when I bought the house, started my interest in bonsai, and then I go to the neighbor's hedge, cut some big branches, put them in a bucket of water, and it smelled ridiculous after 2 weeks and nothing happened. And then I've started with a little ficus, and this thing also died. And then I was hooked, I guess.
Yeah.
So I started collecting everywhere and bought a lot of nursery stock. And in 1 year, I had 50 trees on benches in my parents' garden.
Hello, people. I want to stop the conversation for just a moment. I want to thank you all for supporting us. If you want, leave us a like and subscribe to the channel. It means the world to us. And if you want to go for a step further, head to bonsaigers.com. We have everything needed to make bonsais, tools, pottery, and everything necessary for your exhibitions. If you need any help, feel free to reach out to us. You'll find us on Instagram and YouTube, of course. And now, let's go back to the video. Okay, but so 2017 you started with bonsai.
2017, yes, I started with
2017.
bonsai.
Okay.
And then I killed a lot of trees in the first year because I was watching a lot of YouTube videos where trees got bare rooted all the time and the roots got washed and a lot of other techniques. And I've said I'm not that patient, so I worked on all trees every time. And at first I thought I have no time to water because I want to go fishing and do this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's why I put a lot of organic material in my mix, in my soil mix at the beginning. And then I was hooked and watered 3 times a day, and these things all rotted away because I watered 3 times a day. Yeah, and then I pruned them when I got them from the nursery. Then I washed all the roots, repotted them immediately, wired them, and after 1 year I lost so many trees that I thought maybe I should search for some serious health. That's how I started with Bonsai Life, and that was the best thing I could do because my learning curve. I'm really someone that can absorb a lot of information through visual learning, like videos. I'm not that big of a reader. I don't like to read. I read only 2 or 3 books in my entire life, so that's nothing for me. I can't concentrate when I'm reading. I always have to move. I always have to do something. So when I watch a video, I can do something besides that.
Yeah.
And then when I finished the house in 2018, I had in mind, okay, I want a bonsai garden and I want a big koi pond. First, my plan was to build a pond as big as the garden because my main thing was fishing. But then I realized, okay, a pond this big takes a lot of money and a lot of care. And there's also some government issues when the pot gets too big and stuff like that in Germany. So I thought, okay, I do it like the width of my house. It's way too big, but it works at the moment. So
It suits really good in the garden. I mean, it's amazing that you can swim in it as well. I mean, that you made it natural. It's a really nice concept. Also, I don't know, you have the smaller side with the yeah. Is it to clean it up as well?
yeah, but I don't use that anymore as a filter because that don't work. That's for a swimming pool, but not for koi fish.
Okay.
Because koi fish it's like mass keeping fish. So you have a lot of fish and not a lot of water, and the water quality needs to be really high that the fish don't suffer. And with only a water filter, the problem is you can't put salt in the water to keep them from spawning to reproducing. And also when you have some problems with insects, with pests, you can't put any medical things inside when you have water plants, and it makes everything difficult. So in the second year, I started to do a bypass. So it's totally separated for the last 5 years now. The plant pond. So there are some goldfish in it, and that's it. So no filter, no pumps, nothing. So the koi pond is completely autark.
Okay.
Yeah. And the good thing was that I placed it in front of my terrace, so I can watch it also from the house from inside. That's something I learned afterwards. There's the Konishi Koi farm in my area, and the Konishi Koi farm also has a YouTube channel, and they talk about all the secrets how to build a koi pond. And Martin, the owner from Konishi Koi farm in my area, also visited my garden for his YouTube channel and gave me some advice. And when I've watched his videos before I built the pond, I would build it completely different. Because the concept of my pond is a swimming pond and not a koi fish pond. The company that helped me with searching for the right materials had no clue about koi fish, so that's why I had to rebuild it 5 times over 5 years. So the only thing that is the same as the beginning is the concrete inside and the foil. But
what would you have done different?
I wouldn't do this concrete thing again. It is abrasive, so the fish can hurt themselves because it's not smooth, the surface. And also you can't do anything afterwards with it. You can't put a bigger pipeline in it. You can't do some new stuff,
because otherwise
there are 3 tons of concrete in this thing. If I want to start all over or change something, I have to rip this thing out. So yeah. And also the color, it is really like sand color. So the fish look the best when the ground is black. Because in black water, when you have a black foil, that's why all koi ponds are black. When you have like a
white and red, it just pops.
White and red, like a kohaku, for example, or showa, or it really shines in Nepal. Also karashi goi with the yellow color. When you have black water, it really shines. So over time you get a patina. My ground layers get also darker. But when I put salt in it for health problems or for spawning in spring, the patina gets killed off because it is biologic. So it's like a small algae cover. And when you put 250 kilo of salt in it, so then it washes away. So I never get that really dark color of my water where the fish are really shining in.
But what about the fish itself? Because I would like to experiment moving forward with different crafts that are coming, or they're surrounded by bonsai, but then give it the Western twist. Like you have it with suiseki, you can do it with, you can make it with local stones. Of course, with trees, we all know that you can take local trees to have much more local composition. But can you do something about the fishes? Like you're saying that you've been a fisherman of carps. Is there any way of like any beautiful carp that could replace a koi one day, in your opinion?
There's a carp breeder in Germany. Beauty Carp is the name of the company, and they produce a beautiful scaled mirror carp for big fisheries where the fish get released. So they grow big and they are like a trophy because they're really beautiful. But the problem is with a carp with a natural color, it is really dark. And when you have a black foil in your pond, you have a koi is breeded for the top view, not for the side view. A carp that is produced for carp fishing is grown for the side view because you hold it in the picture like this. So, and then you see the scales and the body volume and everything. And a koi pond is always breeded for the top view. So the colors, the texture, everything, the body, the volume, the muscles on the neck, everything is breeded for the top view. All the pictures of koi pond are in the round balls, in the blue balls, and then you put your koi fish and you take always photos from top. No koi pond no koi fish seller shows pictures from the side.
Yeah, of course.
So because also there are some ponds where you have a window inside of the pond. So and you can really see, okay, these fish are not breeded for the side.
To be shown on the side
because they look skinny from the side.
Yeah.
And sometimes they have an ugly belly.
Yeah.
But when you have a normal level koi pond, you always look from the top down.
Yeah.
So there are some people with a window in front of the koi pond where they have normal carp inside, and a lot of fishermen also have koi ponds, so they sometimes have a normal carp in the pond. And you also get some varieties of koi fish that are really dark, like some really black ones, or some metallic dark bronzy color. But they don't shine in your pond. When you have something that is red and yellow and white mixed with black, this one fish that is like a brown color, nobody cares about it. So
yeah, no, of course,
so,
of course.
You need some color, and that's the fun in koi fish, the diversity of colors.
Okay. But so like nowadays, there's nobody doing that kind of work to develop the top part of a fish for that kind of purpose. I mean, there's no market for it, so probably. Okay.
Also, you don't buy normally koi fish that are breeded in Germany.
Yeah, no, of course. You want the Japanese stuff.
Because the importation is not a problem when you start buying small fish and they get raised here. That's a Japanese koi, but they get raised here, but they are born in Japan.
Yeah.
Because the whole infrastructure is much cheaper there, with the water, the energy, the food, everything is much cheaper to produce the fish there, and they have the know-how to breed them on a high level, because you start with millions of small centimeter like larvas, and they start selecting them with nets that are like 2 to 2 centimeters in dimension, and they sit there for hours and hours, days and days, and select all these small fish, and then half year later they select them again when they are 3 centimeters tall, and then they select after they are 7, 8, 12 years sometimes, and they have over 1 meter, and that's what's the value in, because there are a lot of fish that get selected out.
Yeah.
Not every koi survives. They get shredded and they get koi food again.
Yeah.
Because a lot of koi food is also some
koi. Okay.
Yeah.
That's I mean, and then of course, like the good ones continue moving forward. They breed more, and they get like the.
It's like with bonsai, they keep the really high quality for themselves.
Yeah.
And let them develop, grow more. Because when they keep the really good ones and make them big, they're even expensive. So always when you see videos from Germany about koi fish, they talk, okay, this koi gets selected out in this stage because there was this little black spot or something like that, and now I can buy it.
Yeah.
So because the people want to know why the top breeder from Japan sorted this one out and don't kept it. Because everybody knows when I buy a 30 centimeter koi, that is not the highest quality of the highest from this year. Because otherwise it would swim in Japan and not in Germany.
Yeah, no, but that's the same. I was talking about the same topic in another conversation. It's it's the same with everybody that is producing something. Keep the best for like or the close customers or for themselves to promote it, like to get more of it. In the case of living plants or fishes or snakes or whatever. It's really interesting topic. I was really blown away by the the entrance of your garden when you get in and you have the koi pond. There's big fishes now.
Yeah, I also breed it a lot by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
I bought at first I bought from eBay, and I've learned fast that you don't buy from different sources because koi fish, the biology, the microbiology on the skin and everything, if you put from different sources fish together, there can be an outbreak of some virus or stuff like that, where all trees are dying at the end. So best to source from one koi fish dealer that also gets his fish from one koi farm.
Okay.
Konishi Koi Farm only sells to Martin in my area, and he sells to whole Europe. So nobody else gets the fish except Martin.
Okay.
From the Konishi Koi Farm. And Konishi Koi Farm breeds 50, 60 different color varieties.
Okay.
And it's a really big koi farm. And you don't mix and match from other koi farms because they have other biology on the fish, other water, and then it can get you in some trouble. That's why it is hard to resell koi fish. They're expensive when you buy them from your koi dealer, but if you want to resell them seriously to someone else and you don't have the papers that all your fish in your pond are from one breeder, nobody wants to buy them. Especially
because otherwise you can really destroy.
Yeah, eBay is full of fish that people want to give for free because they want to get rid of them. But every serious koi hobbyist knows I don't take random fish from eBay because otherwise the risk that all my fish are dying is really high.
But there's no quarantine. There's no way of like.
You can even when you put from the same dealer fish and you have missed 2 or 3 years of putting new fresh fish inside the pond, there can be a differentiation and there can be some trouble. That's why always when you put new fish inside, you put your salt level of the water up because salt is like a sterilization of the water. So it keeps the stress level of the fish because the koi fish has a salt level in his body of around about 1%. And when you put in your fresh water around 0.6% of salt, the difference between the salt content in the body and the water is less, and the fish are less stressed. So when you put new fish in the pond, you always put salt in it, and you don't feed for a week because food is also stress. If they have to digest the food, it's stress. So you don't feed for a week, and then normally it's not a problem. When you get from a serious dealer your fish, it's not a problem. But when you get fish from eBay, where are also some fish inside from the local river and things like that, then you can get in real trouble. And at the beginning, I bought a lot of different fish, and I had luck. Thank God I had luck. But I had the problem, I can't use salt because of my plant filter system at the time. And then they start spawning in the first year, and I had then 3,000 baby koi in my pond. Then I kept the best one of them, and the best one of them are now 70 centimeters. So,
Okay.
So that's where most of my fish are from. I had 2 times that my fish are breeding, and then it's a mix and match. So you don't know where the parents are. In Japan, it's selective breeding. You have one female and one male, and they get put in a bowl of water, and then they spawn. So you really know what's the outcome and what genetics are in the children fish.
Yeah, of course.
But if you have 50 kois in your pond and they all start breeding,
Yeah, how do you know?
There's also, because a lot of them are brothers and sisters, so you
Yeah.
get this abnormal things
Okay.
like you have in every species when they get
Yeah, no, of
brothers,
course, I'm
sisters
breeding.
matched. Yeah.
Okay.
And in Japan, they always start refreshing the bloodlines,
Okay.
so they don't run into narrower bloodlines over time, because they are getting new adults, and then they always look at the history of the males and the females and where they are coming from and who's the parents, so they don't get that narrow bloodline, that the babies don't get misformed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? It's a
It's a
tough
whole
job.
other game. Koi fish is a totally hobby by itself. You can put a lot of effort in it.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, there's such a big. I mean, there's those huge fairs in Japan where they do like those fishes competitions, and the koi, of course, is the most valuable one and more, frowned upon. Yeah, yeah, it's exactly fantastic. It's really nice to hear, because many times when you're going to, of course, bonsai falls into the Japanese crafts, and many times when you have a garden that has bonsais, you find also kois. But for the people that we met so far, people gets really nerdy about bonsai and the stuff that it's on the side, or you have somebody that takes care of them, or like you don't have them at all. So it's coming to your place, you can really see that there's a lot of effort in that too, because I mean, just having is a natural pool, that one, the one with the kois. So I mean, all of that, like, I mean, when I'm hearing about natural pools, there's so much effort that you need to put into. It's not just that you put in some chemicals and everything gets fixed. There's
All koi keeping is natural in that
Yeah.
case. But like a natural pool uh, is like with gravel and things inside. So a koi pond is really sterilized.
Okay.
You have a volume of water, and then you have an organic filter system and something to keep the real dirt in first part out of it. But it's really organic, because the more organic your water is, the more your koi fish shine in that water. If in the past there was a lot of sterilizing of the koi water, because the, 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 the a lot of people thought you have to have them in really super clean water. But in super clean water, you get a lot of other problems with diseases. It's like spraying your bonsai with a lot of chemicals. Then you get a lot of disease, because you used a lot of chemicals. The biologic side of the roots and everything is not that healthy. And when you have koi fish, they really shine in a rich organic water. But you don't want to have gravel inside where the shit and everything can compost inside. You want flat surface that the shit goes to the filter, but it gets refreshed organically by microbiology. That's why you're keeping your filter running 365 days a year. You don't shut this thing down in winter, because then your biologic system dies. Then you have to start all over again in spring, and then you get problems. The longer the koi pond is running, the better your water's getting.
Okay.
And then you have to change a lot of fresh water. Normally, especially in the hot days, you have to change the volume of water per month. So I have 40,000 liters of water. I have to change that. I have a permanent water flow, where a little bit of water is dripping inside the pond whole year long, to keep fresh carbons in the water, that the pH level is stabilized. If you don't remove the old water, there are a lot of processes in the water with algae that removes the carbon from the water, and then your pH level drops really fast. Then your koi die under a pH of 6.5, or they start to suffer.
Okay.
There's a lot of effort put into koi fish, because you have a lot of big fish in not a lot of water.
Okay.
okay. Yeah, it's always when you have a small container, it becomes everything becomes more technical. But do you have some projects in mind for the future in the garden? Some developments that you are thinking about?
Oh, the time is my problem. I have not enough time. I'm really interested in everything around bonsai.
Mhm.
Every time when I was collecting in Austria, I've reserved one day my collecting trip for suiseki hunting. And then
Okay.
at the beginning, 5 or 6 years ago, I had some time over winter, and then I've carved 20 or 15 or 20, I guess, Daisa for Suiseki and cleaned the stones with a brush, and
Okay.
that's something I like. Everything I also like to paint um, scrolls.
Hmm.
Uh,
Also.
yeah, I also paint. Then I would like to build some bonsai stands as well. I started with one or two, but I had no time.
Uh-huh.
Then now we are actually, my wife started pottery class last year.
Okay.
We are
Put
actually
it to work.
setting a pottery studio now. I'm excited for the trophy in 3 weeks because we can talk to a lot of potters.
Yeah.
And it's also something that interests me. I really would like to produce some pots by myself,
There's
but
no
there's
time.
only a X amount of time. So yeah, it's hard. What I really want to try to do with my business, at least, is
Okay.
raising the level in Germany.
Raising the level in Germany, like bonsai wise, or like
Quality, the from the result people get out of their trees. A lot
Okay.
of people, they stagnate in bonsai. They do the same thing for 30, 40, 50 years. I have a lot of customers that are in their 70s, and they think they're done with their bonsai journey. They don't want to start a new bonsai because they think, oh, I'm gonna die in 5 years or so. And it takes 20, 30 years to get a nice tree. And I hear a lot of professional talk about this, that oh, bonsai takes so long, and it should take long because you can really get a great result if it took 30 or 40 years, and it should take decades to get nice results. Yeah, but that's something that keeps the people away from the hobby. If more
That's,
people doing
that's a really good
hobby,
point.
all the community, uh, uh, there's more support. If you have more people buying trees, there are more professionals that can do a living with bonsai. So my goal is to get the change in the heads of people. Because
Yeah.
every time someone comes to my garden, they think I buy all the trees and they were finished, or I do this for 20 years. So
Mm-hmm.
no, most of my trees are started in the last 2 to 4 years. And
Mm-hmm.
you can really get fast results if you understand the species and how to work with the energy of the tree and not against the energy. You can get really nice results in 2 to 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my customers that I'm teaching now or supporting for the last 2 to 3 years, they get really nice looking trees, and
Yeah.
they never thought about something that they can achieve that by themselves from raw material. One of the guys that is over 70, we air layered from the neighbor's juniper hedge
Mm-hmm.
4 branches, and
Mm-hmm.
we removed them after 1 year. Then we styled them, planted in a bonsai pot after 2 years. He had some crazy cool uh, medium size junipers with dead wood and nice ramification from an area from the neighbor's hedge. And you
Yeah, no,
could
no, no. I
area
mean,
150 of these things there. So it was completely mind blowing what we can achieve also with root growth. There are so many people that still after 30, 40, 50 years try to cultivate bonsai in normal compost soil. And they
yeah,
get
no.
literally no root growth. Most of the trees, they are deciduous because otherwise all the conifers they are tried, they die. So a
Yeah,
lot
of
of my
course.
customers have deciduous. Then another problem is, even with deciduous, you have not a lot of fine roots with compost soil in the pot, and they
So you
have no
can
shade
develop a
block.
nice crown or anything.
Yeah, they don't partially defoliate. they don't understand the energy balancing of trees, and then there are a lot of dead branches. I have a lot of customers where 70% of the branches are dead on the trees, but they don't cut them away because otherwise this would be a stick in a pot with 3 branches. So they also keep the dead branches, that it looks, at least in summer, like something.
Yeah.
But I don't get that thing, that why it should be so hard. I don't get it.
There's a lot of studies involved. There's a lot of studies. Like I see, like I think that we are similar in a way. It feels like you're somebody that jumps into something at first and you go in it. And I'm the same. And with bonsai, it works really good because you watch 10 videos the first night, you watch 10 the next the one after. You understand more or less how you need to work, and then you try out, and it works. Some stuff, some works, some they don't work out, and you end up doing something. But if somebody just jumps in and tries out and doesn't really study, that's the biggest problem. Like the good investment in bonsai is like having somebody teach you, and that can show you what you can do, because otherwise you just buy, you go to the bonsai nursery, you get something that maybe it's good, produced commercially, so I mean it has its flaws, and you let it die, and you go and you buy another one after that. I think it's more or less the business plan of the old style bonsai nursery, I guess.
That's why I think that the people in the US are better at bonsai than us in Germany, for example, or in Europe, because in Europe you can still import Japanese trees, and there's no necessary that every hobbyist should learn how to build a nice tree because they can buy one from the shelf.
Yes.
So, and when they have, especially when they have a lot of money, they can buy really good trees, and then a lot of trees get killed really fast. That's also a thing. For me, there's a lot of value in these imported Japanese trees because there are decades people putting work into it. Then they sell it and someone else kill it because they don't know anything how to keep it alive, or how to manage the tree every year, that it is keeping progressing. Ryan once or sometimes says, if a tree don't grows, it dies. There's no stagnation in bonsai. If it don't grows healthy, it dies. There's nothing between. You can only keep it a small amount of time in a really in a stage where it don't progresses. If it don't grows, it dies. And in America, they don't have this importation of Japan. So they need to build by themselves. So they are forced to learn more how to build them if they want nice looking bonsai.
I mean, I gotta say that in Europe we have some great some great artists too, some great practitioners. And I mean, in the States, they have different problematics. I mean, with the deciduous, for example, I was talking with Jennifer Price a couple of weeks ago, and she said also that it's much more difficult to find the deciduous material that you find here. That they have fantastic conifers, the lodgepole pines, the California junipers. They have some crazy stuff. But I mean, I see your point. It's definitely something that when you have the availability of something great, you tend to get a little bit lazy, maybe with the starting from scratch. And I mean, I think that we have some really good examples. I mean, here
in Europe as
we
well.
We have great artists.
Yeah.
That's not a fault on the whole Europe community, but I found it hard to tell people, to teach people that you can be really quick in development to get nice results when there's no necessary for a lot of people to learn, to want to learn. So, and also when I hear some professionals always propagating this sense that it should took 30 or 40 or 50 years. A lot of people that are starting with bonsai searching on the internet about informations, and they all stumble about these conversations that everything in bonsai takes long. The people are not ambitious nowadays. They marry, they get they get a small kid and then they get out again. So 50 years ago, this was not a thing. People stayed together. They try to work for it. The same with hobbies. People get into a hobby, they have a bad result in something, they're out again. They don't like you and I that are that ambitious that they try again and try again and try again. In my first year, I killed 20 or 30 trees. Most of my customers are stopped with bonsai when they kill one tree. I have a lot of people in my beginner classes where I style small junipers, and I never had a problem for me or for someone that has bonsai before keeping these things alive. But when there are people new to bonsai and they start this beginner class, don't matter how much money they have. I have some customers with a lot of money and they start a beginner class and the first bonsai dies, and I reach out to them, hey, should we try another one or different species? No, I'm no longer interested in the bonsai. The first tree dies, they have no interest anymore. So you need to build your focus around informing the people that you can get great results in a short amount of time if you get a right source of information.
It's
And
definitely a
that's
good.
my part for me.
But it's definitely a good input with this thing, like that the being a slow craft can let people to live. We've been doing markets for a few years around Europe, and many times one of the I mean, other than oh yeah, my ficus died, my bonsai died. Another thing is like, oh, but it takes so long, and it's like it's not really that like people has a bad bonsai has a bad reputation under that, and I think that actually could be a really good point, the thing that letting people understand that it doesn't need to be so slow, that would bring in some more people. But it's like having a dog in a way, having a bonsai, and not everybody is having the passion that it needs to make it thrive. There's a lot of people maybe just could have it as a statement piece at home, and some people doesn't even have the possibility to do that. I mean, it's I understand your take on like people is a little bit more loose nowadays, that relationships or hobbies is just there's a new thing that comes out every week. It's but I think that also like bonsai, it's really I think I heard Ryan saying once, since you mentioned it before, that that bonsai, it's difficult to bring it to the masses because it's not a craft that really belongs there. So I guess that some the people that needs to be touched by the craft is gonna be touched either way. I think maybe with a little bit more, it's for some people takes more time, for some people take less time. But I mean, I'm a big believer that bonsai can, in a way, for sure change the perspective of people about nature, and I think that that's super valuable. But maybe one day it's gonna be able to change the world too. Who knows? It's I mean, it's for me, it changed my world for sure. And I mean, I think that if it would be put right now in the West, it's seen so much like a foreign thing, in my opinion. Like people see bonsai, and the first thing that they think it's about Japan. But I think that if the craft can be extrapolated from that contest and brought to as a worldwide craft, it would bring so much value to the life of each person. Like it's like it's nature in a small form, in a portable form. It's the replication of an environment that you see in nature in a container. It's something that shouldn't belong to a certain place. Of course, like they've been doing it for generations. They have the most beautiful trees. They have the more knowledge. It's like people doing pizza somewhere else for us Italian, you know, like we have the knowledge. But eventually it went out, and now in Japan they do better pizza than they say that they do in Italy. So it's something that it's so valuable. And I mean, I think it's important to give the possibility to people to understand that it is. And with your points, I think that actually it's something that could be easier for the general public.
Yeah, and when everybody has the same feeling the first time when you are into bonsai, and then you drive beside a forest and you can't concentrate on driving anymore.
Yeah.
Because you look at the branch ramification, especially in winter. I observed a lot of ramification on deciduous trees, how the branches are built. And every beginner, don't matter how good how high the level of the hobbyists are, they have all the same feeling. They are get attached more to nature. They have another feeling. That's like when you have a dog as a pet. You need to walk with the dog. It's not that you can stay all day long inside on your computer.
Yeah, of course.
Hobby bonsai is like a pet. You need to look after this pet, or like children every day. And not a lot of people want this commitment, especially when you're younger. That's why in Japan there are a lot of old people, older generation, pursuing bonsai also as a hobby. Because when you're a little bit older, you don't need to see the whole world anymore, and you're a little bit calmer, and then you can focus more on one thing that interests you. But there's a lot of interest for young people in bonsai, because I also have kids here that want to do bonsai at the age of 12 or 13, 14, and a lot of teenagers. So there's an interest, but the goal should be for the community, okay, how to get the next generation into the bonsai, because we don't want to get more 60, 70-year-old people into bonsai. We want to catch the next generation, because this is something really important that develops the art, that someone has really 50, 60 years in advance to pursue the art form. Walter Paul only started when he was 40 with bonsai. Now he's doing bonsai for 43 years. Or imagine he was starting with 16, 17. What he could achieve.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's important, but not. I mean, also because younger minds bring fresh ideas. It's there's so much to. I also think that bonsai itself. I mean, it's just the art form. Imagine like seeing it as not a bonsai art, but as art. So like so much we could open the boundaries so much, like where like you have bonsai, you have Penjing, you have cosmic bonsai, you have Nick Lenz, you have like new ideas flowing with new people coming from different places. You see like people in South America, what they're doing with their species, us in Europe, what we're doing, and also with younger minds that don't maybe follow the tradition, or like all of those, or maybe that they learn the tradition first and then they try to develop it, or just that they come in and they see something new and they want to experiment, and then new stuff comes out. So I mean, it's we need new people, we need more people, and we need people coming from every different background, so like we can really develop it.
And the people should not take every critique personally. There's a lot of misunderstanding in the community sometimes, in my feeling. At the end, what really matters, in my opinion, is the result. Like with Cosmic Bonsai, every time I see a display of his trees at a trophy, I wonder why this man should not get an award in some kind of thing. Because this is like, for me, display is all about telling a story. And this displays and the work that he's doing to his elms, and especially you don't see wire bites.
No, I actually saw the composition. He submitted the tree into Bonsaigers X this year, but he submitted a picture from I think the last trophy that he did. I don't know if it was 2023. And I told him that unfortunately I couldn't let him in because it wasn't an updated picture, and he showed me the picture of what it is now, and it's insane. It's like you know, you have those metal bars bending the branches, and you have stick dividing the tree, like the ramification. So it wasn't available for exhibition, but the way that it's developing, it's I understand why you're saying that you should get some kind of like recognition for it. But the traditional, it's, as we were saying, like it's an old craft. So there's people, it's married to their ideas. It's a difficult ground for new people to come in with new ideas. That's why we need fresher ways.
And why should not everybody have like a cosmic style bonsai in their collection? That's also something I think about myself, that I try to search for material to do something similar like that, to have that kind of style in my collection, because it is a unique approach. When I listened to the podcast of him, he mentioned, I guess it was a podcast with Ryan, he mentioned that one time he wants to stop with bonsai because he got so much hate from all around the world about his personality, what he's doing, and I don't get it. Sorry, but I don't get it. This what Lauren is doing, that's like art.
Yeah,
I agree. But I mean, it's like because let people talk about it. You know, it's the way that it is. In art is supposed to like let emotions to the surface, like to make you feel stuff. And I mean, it's in a way or the other, like that kind of tree is making people think. So it's I'm definitely agreeing on that. I'm looking forward to see how that is gonna move forward in the years, and how new generations of artists are gonna develop the craft. I think that with this topic we could have you know, it seems like a good mantra to have for a closing conversation. But thank you so much for stopping with me today and talk a bit about bonsai and everything that you've been doing. Like, I would really love to come again and have the chance to having you chaperoning us around your garden, because there's so much that I would have asked you. But I'm really impressed with your work. I would like, do you have something extra that you'd like to say? To something about some projects that you have for the future, something that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, my garden really run out of space, so maybe in the future I sell it and buy a bigger property. We'll see. Now I'm excited for the pottery studio of my wife, and in 3 weeks the trophy. That will be a big event.
Yeah.
So now actually the Kokofu is running, so I get a lot of photos on Instagram about the Kokofu.
Making us jealous. We didn't even have the time to talk about Kokofu. It started today. It would have been nice to give some insights, but maybe we're gonna talk about it next week. But thank you so much, Dennis. It was a pleasure to have you on the platform, and I'm looking forward to talk with you again
about anything.
Thank you, Loris. Keep forward. I really appreciate the Bonsaigers X exhibition.
Thank you so much.
Great job. with the exhibition and keep progressing every time.
We're looking forward to see how it's gonna develop in the next years, how the trees are gonna be next year, what you're gonna submit, because I'm really curious to see that too. But you know, we're growing. We are passionate. We have fresh minds to put on the craft. So we're looking forward to give our input to this craft. Really excited about that.
Okay.
But thank you so much once again, Dennis.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Have a good one.